Hey, what's up, folks? So it's official now. Donald J. Trump is coming back to Twitter. I'm going to give you my opinion about it in detail, but first, here's a quick brief. Breaking news, Donald Trump has officially been reinstated after this Elon Musk poll of whether he should bring him back or not squeaked in favor of Trump coming back. Elon Musk really bought Twitter and then brought Trump back. That's straight comedy. And regardless of what you think about Trump, he's one of the funniest and best Twitter users of all time, and his account never should have been deleted. It's essentially book burning to get rid of public record of what he actually said, whether you agree or not. In some cases, I was trying to do journalism about 2020 and stuff that Trump said and did, and I couldn't even have access to his actual public records and statements. This is the United States of America, and we shouldn't be book burning historical records.
It's the Dream Rare Podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles. It's the Dream Rare Podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm here to break the news on Facebook and YouTube. It's official. Elon Musk has brought Donald Trump back onto Twitter. So he bought Twitter, brought Trump back on. Elon Musk likes to do Twitter polls. He likes to ask the public, what do you think, yes or no? And Elon likes to usually go with what the people said in masses or in the majority. So regardless of what you think of Trump, Elon, etc., I think it's pretty interesting. I mean, I like that aspect of Elon on Twitter. Ask a poll, see if it's popular, and then do it. I think that also helps him when everybody's like, well, and he's like, look, I mean, that's what the people said. That's true democracy, that the left pretends like they agree with. So I think it's an interesting concept that he keeps doing that. I like that. With that being said, there's a few angles to this Donald Trump coming back to Twitter. I think the obvious one is he never should have been banned. Obviously, free speech. Obviously, there's worse politicians in the world and in the country. Obviously, it's not fair. But I have a few interesting angles because I think the obvious angle is free speech. This is America. He's a politician. He's the former president. You never should have banned him. Yep, agreed. But here's one that's interesting. They tried to say he incited violence at January 6th, and one of the last tweets that he had on Twitter said, be peaceful. He kept telling people to be peaceful. I think it was a messy day. I think people were sloppy. I personally don't think it was a great leadership of him just telling people to come to the Capitol without really a plan, but he never incited violence. Trump didn't say, go do that, go crazy. He definitely said, be peaceful, stay peaceful, stay peaceful, and people didn't listen. They're trying to do something in this country where if you say something and someone else does something, you're responsible. Obviously, Trump is a big example because he's the president, it's his protest or whatever, but they tried to do this in 2020. They tried to say, well, people are attacking Gretchen Whitmer, so that means if you're against lockdowns, then you support the people attacking the governor. And if you look at the actual case of how many feds were involved in that whole fiasco, I mean, you could read about it yourself. But the point that I'm trying to get to is they're doing to Trump like, oh, since he said things on his Twitter and did things, now we got to take away his free speech because his words might lead to violence. We can't do this in America. I'm against violence. I'm against crime, when it's like property damage, whatever. But you can't just say, oh, well, that person said something and someone did something, so they inspired them to do that. Now they don't have free speech. We really got to be careful with that. They tried to do it to Trump, and they try to do it with everything. So next time we get locked down or something crazy happens, they're waiting for someone to do something bad to then blame influencers, Trump, speakers, leaders, protesters, peaceful protesters, and say, you can't peaceful protest anymore. You can't have your First Amendment anymore. You can't have your Second Amendment anymore because these crazies did something. So I think that's an interesting angle that people aren't looking at, that they use January 6th as a reason to get rid of Trump's Twitter. And they're doing that with a lot of things, and we can't, whether you're left wing or right wing, fall into this narrative. If someone says something and someone else does something that day, that's a very dangerous fine line to cross, and I don't think people want to cross it. Another thing is, obviously free speech, you should be allowed to speak, and all of that's the obvious angle. But historically, Trump's Twitter is historical record. The same way, and I'm not comparing Trump to Hitler. I'm just saying Adolf Hitler wrote Mein Kampf. Whatever his name was, Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels wrote the Communist Manifesto. Even if you disagree with what's in either of those books, you don't just burn the books and say, oh, well, they shouldn't even exist and we shouldn't be able to look at them. That's not what we do in this country or in most countries. It's called freedom of speech, freedom of press, and also don't book burn history, because whether you like this or dislike this, you learn from history, and it is what it is. Whether you like it or not, that's something that needs to be there so people can see it. We need to have a semblance of what's real and what's not. With that being said, I didn't mean to compare Trump to those people, because he's far from either of those people. With that being said, his Twitter is public record. Whether you love his tweets, thought they're hilarious, which a lot of them were, or thought he's the worst president ever, that's what he said, and it needs to stay there. I'm doing reporting on Trump, and I can't even find his tweets. And then when I find his tweets, it's not official. It's not linked to his account because they banned his account. And everyone says to me, oh, how do you know Trump said that? And I'm like, he did say this. And they're like, oh, I don't believe you that he said that. And I'm like, well, how can I prove that he said that on Twitter when they suspended his Twitter and that actual tweet, although it might be archived somewhere, there's no real official record of it to make people know that it's even true. The biggest way to prove that what Trump said is what he said is leaving his account up there, having it be verified, and then I can retweet it and everyone can see that I'm not just making it up. It's like, no, he really said that. So I think the book burning aspect of it is perhaps like even more evil than cutting out his tongue. I don't know. I mean, they're both wrong. I don't mean to compare two wrong things, but to the liberal and the left winger, it's like, do you really want to go the route of book burning? Even if you hate every one of his tweets, keep it there so people could see it, rather than just completely delete it and act like it never happened, and then we're all scrambling to figure out what he actually said. Whether you like it or not, Twitter is the new printing press, and Trump loved Twitter. And these are official Donald Trump statements as president or as citizen, and we don't want to go that route. So, obviously I'm glad that he's back. Whether I agree with what he's doing or not, it's really irrelevant when it comes to, going down the path of censorship, and especially with Trump. I mean, he didn't even really say that much on his Twitter as far as like, it's not like he's like, go to the Capitol and burn things down. He never said that. He said, let's peacefully protest and throw a fit or something over Mike Pence. I don't think he wanted people to do that, but who knows? Anyway, now the question comes, is he going to unban other people? He already said he's not going to unban Alex Jones. A few other people have gotten unbanned. Jordan Peterson, ALX got unbanned. There's a lot of people I want unbanned. Pretty much everyone. Unless anyone did something illegal or terrible, I think they should be unbanned. With that being said, Jordan Peterson, the second that he got back on Twitter, he started advocating for more censorship. I should read his actual tweet real quick so I don't butcher it, because I don't want people are going to freak out. Trump is kind of like Jordan Peterson in the way of like, they're both very popular people. You know what I'm saying? They're both pretty epic. Well, actually, Jordan Peterson's not an American. He's a Canadian, but whatever. They're both epic people and epic men. So like, whenever I say anything about them, people freak out. They're like, don't you dare ever question Jordan Peterson. I'm like, okay, geez. But let's find his actual tweet. Dang, he's tweeting up a storm. The guy gets back on Twitter one day and starts firing off like thousands of tweets. But let me see the exact one. Oh my gosh, dude. This guy just won't stop tweeting. I get it, though. He's been off for a few months. Now he's trying to get all his thoughts out. He's tweeted way too many times. I can't even find the actual tweet. Damn. All right. Well, I guess I'm not going to read it because the dude has tweeted like hundreds of times. But he said something along the lines of, without butchering Jordan Peterson's actual statement, Elon should get rid of trolls and anonymous people because they're, sanctimonious, or I don't even know. But anyway, I just thought it was like classic Jordan Peterson to get back on Twitter. And the day he gets back on Twitter, he's already trying to justify censorship for other people. And it's like, in America, Jordan Peterson, God bless you, brother. I'm going to start with the most positive things, I'm glad you're back on Twitter, Jordan Peterson. I think you're one of the more epic speakers in modern history. I think you've done a great job talking about, freedom and this type of stuff. I think Jordan Peterson's in a league of his own in some categories. However, he's always like a walking oxymoron. He comes to America, flees Canada, and then starts falling for Matthew McConaughey gun control propaganda. He gets the vaccine, then cries about it and acts like he got fooled. He gets back on Twitter. The day he gets back on Twitter, he starts advocating for less privacy and more censorship. It's like this dude never learns a lesson. Jordan Peterson's like a genius and a baby at the same time. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's like, it would be like if Donald Trump came back on Twitter and he's like, what we need to do is censor Ilhan Omar and AOC. And it's like, no, you can debate AOC. You can debate Ilhan Omar. You know what I'm saying? Kevin McCarthy did that. He's like, I'm back in the House, and the first thing I'm going to do is take Ilhan Omar off the council because of anti-Semitism. Kick Ilhan Omar off the council because she's not good with foreign policy. Don't kick her off the council under the guise of hate speech. Well, she speaks hate speech. That's not why. You don't take people off of things for hate speech. It's like our party's so stupid. But anyway, it would be like getting back on Twitter and being like, yeah, less privacy, more censorship. It's like, no, you're missing the point, everybody. But I'm not going to stay too long. I'm going to keep this under 20 minutes. Trump is back on Twitter. Elon firing off the polls. Here's my thoughts about that. Elon's not going to do everything you want him to do. He's not going to bring back Alex Jones. He might never bring back people like Nick Fuentes and Owen Benjamin. I hope he brings back everybody, but Elon is not who people want him to be, and I think he's going to fall short of like this savior that a lot of people might be thinking he is. But then at the same time, I feel like there's people that are rabidly like just angry at Elon Musk all the time, and everything he does, they're like, he's going to put a computer chip in my head. Maybe he eventually will, and you could try to stop him. But in general, and I know Elon talks about carbon tax and stuff too. Elon's not my best friend. He's left-wing. He's definitely like a little, rich and like, not that I'm mad that he's rich, but you get what I'm saying. It's not like I look up at him and like, oh, he's going to do everything I want. But I feel like just like people look up and get disappointed by Elon, a lot of people are just rabid Elon haters and they act like he's never going to do anything. And I think that Elon is going to do a good job with Twitter. I think he's already making the business better. He's already fired, no offense, a lot of the dead weight. He's brought back Donald Trump. He's brought back a few other people. He could do more, but he could have also done less. In this world, nothing's guaranteed. He didn't have to buy Twitter. He didn't have to bring back Trump. He didn't have to bring back, other people. You might not like certain people, but I mean, I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. I don't think Elon's going to do everything First Amendment. I don't think he's going to like put a computer chip in your head next year yet. Maybe that comes in 15 years. But jokes aside or not jokes aside, I think he will do a good job with Twitter. And I do think that it's pretty interesting that he does a poll and then does what the poll says. And that poll was like 50 or 51%. It was really close. Which is crazy because it's like you don't want people hate Trump so much they don't even believe in his right to speak on a public platform. But that's not surprising in this day and age. So I think he's an interesting character, and I'm looking forward to actual democracy. I know, and every time I say this, everyone's like, anomaly, this isn't a democracy, it's a republic. I didn't say America was a democracy. I'm just saying, the left says it's a democracy, but then they don't even do democracy. They're like, democracy is when you don't vote our way. It's like, I'm not saying America was not a republic. I'm just saying actual democracy and voting is going in the path of what the people actually vote for, not crying racist and Russian when they do that. So I think Elon on Twitter is doing democracy in the sense of, here's a poll. I believe he bought Twitter because people said he should buy Twitter. He was like, should I buy Twitter? Yes or no? You vote yes. He goes, okay, I'm going to buy Twitter. And then he literally buys Twitter. I do believe if that poll would have went no, he wouldn't have brought back Trump. I really, truly believe that. So, I think it's worth just keeping an eye on. It's tough to even say this. I'm not complaining, but people are always like, people freak out. Oh, you want a computer chip in my head? I'm like, no, I'm just saying as a CEO, he's a fascinating person who actually does customer service. I think he could take a lot of real estate away from even Facebook and YouTube because they have terrible customer service. And think about how he's on Twitter, always like answering questions. He's excited. He seems like he really cares about the company and the growth. Whereas like Mark Zuckerberg, no offense, but he's not the most captivating character. Facebook has garbage customer service. They don't give a crap. Like all of their stuff is done in the shadows for the most part. They're super left wing. It's like we use it because Instagram and Facebook are cool for what they are. But if Zuckerberg and Susan Wojcicki and Sundar Pichai and all these other CEOs of other companies, the TikTok people, if they get too comfortable with their power and success, eventually I think they will lose it. I got banned from TikTok recently. I don't even know why. I don't do anything on TikTok. So, I pray and I hope that, I'm not going to say I literally pray on it, but now that I'm speaking, I hope that Elon actually develops Twitter in a way that is a little bit of a threat to Facebook and YouTube, and they have to keep up with the customer service. It would definitely help. Let me know what you guys think. Some people think Elon's the Antichrist. Some people think he's cool. Some people think he's evil. Charles said, dude, shut up. I believe you should shut up. I don't know why people come to my live stream and tell me to shut up. It would be like me coming to your speech and being like, stop. It's like, you can make your own YouTube channel. But I don't know. I try to be very cautious with calling people the Antichrist, because some people think Trump's the Antichrist, Elon Musk is the Antichrist, Bill Gates is the Antichrist. Everybody's got a opinion about it, and I'm not gonna make a statement that that important without really knowing. I mean, it is what it is. But who's Charles? I don't know. Some guy in the comment section. I'm just reading Facebook and YouTube comments. Some people said I'm over Trump. Is what it is. He's running for president. He never should have had his Twitter taken down. And I think the angle besides free speech that makes the most sense is like historically, like his tweets are historical evidence. We can't just wipe that off of Twitter and act like it never happened. It's very dangerous and very wrong. So if you're over Trump, vote for somebody else in the Republican primary. Me personally, I hope that Ron DeSantis runs. I hope that Rand Paul runs. I hope that Ted Cruz runs, and I hope Jeb Bush runs again just so he can get made fun of and not win. I don't even care if Pompeo runs and Mike Pence runs. I hope Mike Pence runs because I think it's going to be funny watching him lose, and even think that he can win in the first place. So you say that, and people get so angry. They're like, I just want to see some competition. I don't want to see Trump bulldoze everybody out of the way and be like, you need to be loyal to me. No, let's make it a party. Let's get DeSantis in there. Let's get Rand Paul in there. Let's get some actual, competition, some debate. And here's what I think is lacking in the GOP a little bit now is, I have friends that are influencers. I talk about it a lot. I like to be friends with people, and I don't like to rub people the wrong way, because at the end of the day, it's like you don't want to just gossip about somebody. You're not trying to be a jerk. But at the same time, here's the issue with politics is, this isn't a Lindsay Lohan movie where we're all sitting here having friends. This is the country. This is the First Amendment. This is donors. This is lobbyists. This is big pharma. A lot's on the line. So if, someone in the GOP, whether it be Trump, whether it be DeSantis, whether it be Ted Cruz, whether it be McCarthy, McConnell, doesn't matter who it is, when they do something that's wrong, what I see happening among the influencer class and the party is nobody wants to call it out when it's somebody they like because they like them. It's almost like I wish it was just Mitch McConnell so then everyone could point and be like, look, he's doing it. But when Trump or somebody more likable does it, everyone's like, well, I don't want to do it because it's him. In my opinion, I do want I want to be friends with people, but it's not high school. Let's get DeSantis in there. Let's get Rand Paul. I know Rand Paul and Trump like each other. I know DeSantis and Trump probably like each other. But this is for the fate of the country. I'm not looking for everybody to be friends and, we're all friends and we all take the same lobbying money and we all cover up certain things and we all work. No, I want to see Trump and DeSantis start going at it. Tell the truth about who, I'm going to tell the truth about DeSantis. Good. What is it? What's the truth? What's the truth? What's the truth about Trump? Do you really like how he handled COVID, or are you just pretending to? So I want to see some competition when it comes to the Republican primary. I want to see some competition when it comes to Twitter. And regardless of how much I dislike Trump, or you dislike Trump, or you're sick of him and I'm sick of him, the way to beat Trump at the game of information and truth and whatever it is you're playing is not to rip out his tongue and kick him off of social media and then talk trash about him. He needs to have a platform as well, and he deserves to be on Twitter, just like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. So, I understand that certain people are sick of certain stuff, but when it comes to social media, I think the way to win is just to be yourself and not cut another man's tongue out for sure. God bless you. Someone said, get a haircut genderqueer, and your name is Daddy Bad Bad. To tell me to get my haircut and calling me a genderqueer, it's pretty bold to have your YouTube name Daddy Bad Bad. That doesn't sound... I'm Daddy Bad Bad, Anomaly, get your hair cut. I'm Daddy Bad Bad. I'm the biggest alpha male here. I'm Daddy Bad Bad. I mean, I am alpha. I lift weights, okay? I'm Daddy Bad Bad. Like, at least have a name like Ralph Powerlifting, you know? And then if Ralph Powerlifting comes here and he's like, I'm Ralph Powerlifting and Anomaly needs to cut his hair. And you're like, and I'm like, all right, dude, geez, you know, like a lot of testosterone, but Daddy Bad Bad? Come on, bro. That's pretty bad. God bless you guys. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. I'm going to keep this one short because I wasn't trying to make it a huge filibuster or anything, but that's the story. Twitter poll, Trump's back on. A lot of people aren't. Alex Jones not coming back on. You know, obviously watch out for the angle of what they did to Trump on January 6th, which is, oh, well, he said something and they did something. So now that connects to that because they did the same thing during the lockdown. After that Gretchen Whitmer case that just so happened to have like multiple feds involved in the, you know, whatever that was, like they said that they were trying to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer. And then when the story actually broke, multiple feds were involved in that somehow and you know, cracking the case, aka according to, at the time, BuzzFeed, they were also involved in the inception of the plot. That's what BuzzFeed News said. So long story short, to me, that's a big angle that a lot of people are missing or not really seeing, which is this is their way, just like on social media. They take away your free speech and say, well, it's a private platform, but then the private platforms own everything and they're working with big pharma and big government, and now you can't speak anywhere, and then they'll take away your job, and then they'll take away your bank account, but you have free speech, you just can't have it. It's like they have their way of finessing away from our freedoms, and one of the ways that they do that is through this new concept that, well, if Trump says this and he does this, then he manifested that. Well, if there's a bunch of people that are, you know, attacking Gretchen Whitmer, and this account is against the lockdown peacefully, and these people want to protest in California against the lockdown, then you must be like the other people trying to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer. They played this game all lockdown after that happened, like, oh, you know, talking against the lockdown is dangerous. You know, questioning elections is dangerous now. So, you know, we can't, I mean, I know my audience knows, but we can't allow them to do that, because if they don't have the right to protest and you don't have the right to protest, even the same left-wingers that are cheering it on, when push comes to shove and there's a Republican president like a George Bush or a Trump, and you want to peacefully protest or you want to speak your mind, they're going to do the same thing to you and use your words, your peaceful words, as justification, linking you to all sorts of groups. And for me, I've been to enough events, I know enough people that they've already done this to me 1,000 times. Like, oh, you talked to this person, they did this, you did this, you did this, you were here, and they did. It's like, I'm not responsible for what everyone else does. I'm a grown man. I'm not a leader of an organization telling people to go in the streets. And even if you are, you know, if you do a protest with 10,000 people and 3 people at the protest you organize go and knock a street light down, I mean, you should speak on it, and I think you should take not like legal responsibility, but you should be like, hey, you know, as the leader of this movement, we can't do that, and you shouldn't knock that, you know, you shouldn't do property damage. But this idea that even a protest organizer, I mean, I think with BLM and stuff, you can't hold everybody accountable, but when they do 4 nights in a row and they're doing this and people are breaking windows, I do think that you should say, hey, don't do that. You know, I don't think everybody should have been arrested who's there, but if you know what's going on, you should speak on it. But I think it's a little crazy, even for protest organizers, to say that, well, if you run a big protest and a few people do stupid stuff. I've been to protests even before I was more conservative leaning, like when I was younger, and I was at, I wouldn't even say it was a left-wing protest. It was more like an environment protest, not climate change, but water, stuff like that. And I was at protests. I saw people that would do stupid stuff, and I would always try to be like, yo, get back in the street. They'd be standing in the street, like blocking traffic, and it's like, dude, I'd always try to be the person at the protest, be like, stop doing that. But say that person goes in the street, gets hit by a car, causes an accident. I'm not responsible for that person just because I'm at that protest. You know, like, I can't stop 10,000 people from doing something stupid. So I think that's a very dangerous line to walk, and we got to be conscious of it. Just like with social media, that is how they're trying to take away our freedom of protest, by blaming words for actions. And, you know, just like infringements on the Second Amendment, there's always going to be sneaky ways to try to, you know, limit the amount of things that you could have and freedoms in this country. So that's my take. Let me know yours. I appreciate you. Have a beautiful day. stay tuned for more, and sign up to my free email list. I appreciate everybody. It's stayintouchwithme.com. It should be in the description of both. I don't do very many sales during the year, but Black Friday is the biggest sale I do. And if you look at my prices, they're going to be the same today as they are in a week. I'm not doing what major corporations sometimes do, which is like jack up the prices and then put them down. I actually do a sale. So if you actually want to buy stuff, this is the best week to do it. I'd almost rather you not do it because I make more money on other weeks. But of course, it's an option, and I'm grateful. I'm just kidding. But seriously, I mean, I'm not jacking the prices up. So it's a real savings, and especially because shipping is a fine amount, you'll get a savings on that. Have a good one, guys. I'll be back soon.